Have you ever realized that your life keeps repeating the exact same pattern? You want to approach someone and say, "What's on your mind?" Yet you stay silent. You dream about launching that project, but you delay it again and again. You know a decision has to be made, but instead of acting, you lock up completely. Then the self-judgment begins. You call yourself weak, cowardly, indecisive. But what if none of those labels are true? What if the real issue isn't who you are, but a hidden force shaping your behavior without your awareness? Back in 1645, Miyamoto Musashi completed the Book of Five Rings while living inside a cave. He had survived more than 60 duels without suffering a single defeat. If you've followed this channel for a while, you already know the reason he kept winning wasn't because he possessed unmatched strength. It was because he understood something about fear that almost nobody truly grasps. Musashi discovered that fear is not an enemy attacking you from the outside. Fear is a cage, and most people remain trapped inside that cage so long that they begin believing the bars are part of their identity. Today, you're going to learn exactly how Musashi escaped that prison, and more importantly, how you can begin escaping it yourself, starting right now. But before we continue, I need to be honest with you. The road I'm about to show you is difficult. It will force you to confront parts of yourself you may have spent years avoiding. Before we move forward, subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video. And in the comments, tell me this: what decision is fear stopping you from making at this moment? The moment you express fear openly, you begin weakening its grip and understanding it more clearly. Thank you for being here. Now let's continue. Chapter 1. The Realization. The story I'm about to share revolves around a man named Lucas. Not the Lucas from the previous video, another Lucas entirely. Picture a 32-year-old businessman. Smart, confident when speaking, highly capable. Yet inside him existed a problem that was slowly destroying his life. Every time an important decision appeared in front of him, he froze. It wasn't because he lacked discipline. It wasn't because he didn't know enough. It was something much deeper, something instinctive. A crushing sensation in his chest that completely shut him down. When he needed to hire someone new, he delayed it. When a relationship was clearly falling apart, he kept pretending everything was fine. When he needed to make a difficult phone call, he told himself, "I'll handle it tomorrow." Always tomorrow. And the most painful part was that he already knew exactly what needed to be done. The answer was obvious, but between understanding and action, there was a gap he couldn't cross. Lucas believed something was wrong with him. He watched other people make hard decisions and wondered, "Why can't I do that? Why am I like this?" Then one day, he came across a quote from Musashi that completely transformed the way he saw himself. "There is no fear of the unknown. There is only fear of losing what is familiar." The words hit him like lightning, because in that instant, Lucas finally understood. He wasn't avoiding decisions because he feared the future. He was avoiding them because he feared letting go of the life he already knew, even if that life was toxic. Even if the job exhausted him, even if the version of himself he clung to no longer worked anymore, the familiar felt safer than uncertainty, even when the familiar was destroying him. Chapter 2. The Pattern. Musashi believed that most people spend their entire lives trapped inside what he called Shin-numi, the path of the hesitant mind. And this path operates like a flawless loop that keeps people stuck forever. Here's how the cycle works. First comes the impulse. You feel the desire to act, to change something, to choose something. The impulse is simple, direct, and clear. Then comes the second stage, fear. Not an obvious terror like physical pain or death. A quieter fear, one that almost hides itself. What if this ends badly? What if I regret it later? What if people judge me? Third comes negotiation. I should wait for a better moment. I need more preparation first. I should think about this a little longer. It sounds reasonable, but in reality, it's just fear buying itself more time. Fourth comes delay. And the moment you postpone action, relief appears instantly. The uncomfortable tension disappears. Your brain interprets it as survival. Good, we escaped danger. Then your mind rewards you with temporary comfort. Fifth comes guilt. A few hours later, or maybe the next day, you look back and ask yourself, why didn't I do it? What's wrong with me? The guilt eats away at you, but never strongly enough to force action. And this is the real problem. Guilt doesn't destroy the cycle. It strengthens it, because now you're carrying even more emotional weight, making the next decision even harder than before. Then comes the sixth stage. The loop begins again. The next time you face a decision, you're already burdened by the shame of your previous hesitation. Now the fear doubles. You fear the unknown, and you fear failing once again. Lucas remained trapped in this cycle for years. Every postponed decision made the pattern stronger. Every moment of self-hatred made future action more difficult. Until he finally understood what Musashi had been teaching all along. You do not break fear by fighting against it. You break it by changing the relationship you have with it. But before I explain how, you need to understand why this cycle is so powerful in the first place. And the answer is hidden inside your brain. The primitive part of your mind, the part formed millions of years ago to keep human beings alive on the savannah, cannot distinguish between a lion and an uncomfortable conversation. To your survival system, emotional discomfort feels like genuine danger, and your primitive brain has only one purpose: not happiness, not fulfillment, not success. Its only mission is survival, and the safest strategy for survival is staying inside what feels familiar, because what is familiar has not killed you yet. That's why every time you attempt something new, every time you step outside your comfort zone, your brain sounds an alarm. Danger, unknown territory. Stay where you are. The problem is that your brain evolved in a world where threats were immediate and physical. Predators, venomous animals, enemy tribes. In that world, hesitation could save your life. But modern dangers are completely different. Avoiding that phone call won't kill you today. But 6 months from now, it might destroy your business. Refusing to end a toxic relationship won't kill you instantly, but it may slowly drain your spirit for years. Your brain is trying to solve modern problems with ancient survival software, and that is exactly why you feel trapped. A neuroscientist at Stanford University who spent more than 18 years researching fear discovered something remarkable. The human brain does not clearly separate real threats from imagined ones. The amygdala, the part responsible for fear responses, activates the same way before an animal attack as it does before a major public presentation. To your primitive survival system, social humiliation feels almost identical to death itself. That realization changed everything for Lucas. He wasn't broken. He wasn't weak. He was simply human. His brain was functioning exactly as nature designed it to function, protecting him from uncertainty. But Musashi understood something important. Recognizing the problem alone is not enough. You also need a way out, and that path begins with a concept Musashi called Mushin, the empty mind. But don't misunderstand the phrase. This isn't mystical philosophy. It's a practical combat principle powerful enough to save a life. Chapter 3. Mushin, the empty mind. Imagine standing in a duel where one mistake means death. Swords drawn, your opponent directly in front of you. No second chances. In that moment, the true danger is not the enemy's blade, it is your own thinking mind. Because the second you hesitate and start asking yourself, should I strike now? What if he counters? What if I fail? You are already finished. Hesitation is what kills. Musashi fought his very first duel at only 13 years old. His opponent was a grown samurai with real combat experience, and Musashi killed him. How? Because he moved before hesitation had time to appear. While the other swordsman analyzed, calculated, and doubted, Musashi acted. And through the next 60 duels, the exact same pattern repeated itself. His opponents were masters of technique. They knew every stance, every movement, every tactical variation. But when the decisive moment arrived, they hesitated. And that hesitation created a tiny opening, barely half a second long. Inside that tiny opening, Musashi won. He realized something fundamental. The mind that overanalyzes is the mind that loses. In the instant of action, you must be completely present, free from internal noise, free from fear, free from mental conflict. That state is Mushin, a mind attached to nothing, a mind that does not negotiate, does not overcalculate, does not hesitate, a mind that simply acts. But don't misunderstand this idea. I'm not telling you to become reckless or emotional. I'm not saying you should make irrational decisions without thought. What I am saying is this. If you already know what needs to be done, stop waiting and do it. Because here's the truth nobody tells you. Mushin is not achieved after 20 years of meditation inside a cave. Mushin is trained, and the training begins with a specific daily practice Musashi used constantly. Lucas decided to apply this principle in his own life. He identified 3 decisions he had been avoiding for months. 3 things he already knew he had to do, yet fear stopped him every single time. The first decision: firing an employee who clearly wasn't performing well, but who also happened to be his friend. The second decision: ending a relationship that was emotionally exhausting him. The third decision: calling an investor and making a bold request that could transform his business or lead to humiliating rejection. Here's what Lucas did differently. He did not try convincing himself he felt no fear. He didn't stand in front of a mirror repeating positive affirmations. He didn't wait until he felt mentally prepared. Instead, he applied what Musashi called ken no sen, acting before the mind interferes. Monday morning at exactly 8 a.m., before checking emails, before drinking coffee, before doing anything else, Lucas picked up the phone and called the employee. "We need to talk today at 10. That was it. No overthinking, no planning, no rehearsing, only action. And immediately after hanging up, fear exploded inside his head. What did you just do? You should have waited. You needed more preparation. But something essential had already changed. The action was complete. Fear arrived too late, and fear that arrives after action loses most of its power." The conversation happened at 10 o'clock. Was it uncomfortable? Absolutely. Was it difficult? Very. But it was done, and afterward, Lucas experienced something he hadn't felt in years. Power. Not power over other people, power over himself. The ability to move through fear instead of waiting for fear to disappear. First, Tuesday arrived. The second decision, the relationship. This one was even harder because it involved deeper emotions, shared history, and heavier guilt. Immediately, his mind began trying to negotiate again. Wait another week. Maybe things will improve. Maybe you're acting too fast. But now Lucas recognized the voice behind those thoughts. Negotiation was not wisdom. It was fear wearing the mask of logic. So he used the same principle again. At 7 in the evening, he returned home, sat down across from the other person, and quietly said, "We need to talk about us." No preparation, no practice, no dramatic speech, only initiative. The conversation hurt. There were tears, accusations, moments where he almost changed his mind. But he stayed with the decision because he finally understood something Musashi taught clearly. The pain of action is sharp but temporary. The pain of avoiding action becomes permanent. Wednesday, the third decision, the call to the investor. This one terrified him the most because rejection here would not stay private. It would be professional, public, potentially unforgettable. His mind went into full panic mode. What if he laughs at you? What if he thinks you're pathetic? What if everyone hears about this rejection? Lucas grabbed the phone anyway. He dialed the number And while waiting for the call to connect, he repeated a line inspired by Musashi. The difference between the living samurai and the dead samurai is simple. One acted while the other hesitated. The investor answered. Lucas got straight to the point. No excuses, no unnecessary explanations, no trying to soften the request. And the response came quickly. No. But something unexpected happened. The rejection hurt for maybe 30 minutes. Then the pain faded away completely, and what remained afterward was more valuable than approval itself. Certainty. The certainty that he could survive rejection. Chapter 4. The Principle of Familiarity. Inside the Book of 5 Rings, Musashi wrote something many people completely misunderstand. Become familiar with death every day. At first glance, it sounds dark, depressing, almost nihilistic. But Musashi meant something entirely different. This was actually one of the most practical methods ever created for breaking fear. Here is how it works. The brain fears what it does not know because uncertainty signals possible danger. But once something becomes familiar, its ability to terrify you begins fading. Musashi meditated on death every single day, not because he wanted to die, but because he refused to let fear of death control his decisions. Once you deeply accept something, it loses authority over you. And this principle applies to every form of fear. Afraid of rejection? Become familiar with rejection. Afraid of failure? Become familiar with failure. Afraid of embarrassment? Become familiar with embarrassment. How do you accomplish that? By intentionally exposing yourself to uncomfortable situations. Not to suffer unnecessarily, but to teach your nervous system that discomfort is not fatal. A Harvard researcher who spent 14 years studying therapeutic exposure and neuroplasticity explained it this way. When someone repeatedly experiences a feared situation without catastrophic consequences, the amygdala slowly relearns that the stimulus is not dangerous. After enough exposure, fear responses can decrease dramatically. You are not deleting fear. You are retraining your brain not to react to it automatically. Lucas decided to test this idea on himself. For 30 straight days, he committed to doing one uncomfortable thing every day. Nothing huge, just small but intentional actions. Day 1. He asked for a discount at a coffee shop. Normally, he would never do that because he feared appearing cheap. Day 2. He started a conversation with a stranger in an elevator. Small talk had always made him nervous. Day 3. He posted an opinion online that he knew some people would disagree with. Usually he kept those thoughts hidden out of fear of criticism. Every day he exposed himself to discomfort, and every day something surprising happened. He survived. Not only survived, he discovered that the fear in his imagination was always far bigger than reality itself. The coffee shop employee refused the discount. Nothing happened. The stranger in the elevator answered coldly. Nothing happened. People criticized him online. Still, nothing catastrophic happened. And little by little, his brain began learning a new lesson. Discomfort does not equal danger. Around the 15th day, Lucas noticed something changing inside him. Before difficult situations, he no longer felt that crushing pressure in his chest with the same intensity. The feeling still existed, but now it was weaker, more distant, manageable. Then came day 30. Lucas did something that would have seemed impossible a month earlier. He stood on stage in front of 200 people and delivered a speech about his field of expertise. No slides, no prepared script, just himself, a microphone, and the decision not to hesitate anymore. Was it flawless? Not at all. He stumbled over words, forgot a few points he wanted to mention, but none of that mattered, because the moment he walked off that stage, he was no longer the same man who had stepped onto it. Chapter 5. The Everyday Mind. But there was still another problem. You can train yourself to handle isolated moments of fear. But what about the constant fear quietly living underneath everything? That voice always whispering, "You're not ready. You're not good enough. Something will go wrong. Be careful." Musashi had an answer for this too. And strangely enough, it may have been his most powerful lesson of all. He called it Hijoshin, the ordinary mind. The principle sounds simple, yet it changes everything. No matter what situation you face, maintain the same mental state. No emotional extremes, no dramatic highs or crashes, just calm awareness, steady presence. Why does this matter? Because the moment you treat certain situations as special, you train your brain to panic around them. This is serious. This is dangerous. This matters too much. And instantly your nervous system enters emergency mode. But if you approach a duel with the same calm energy you bring to drinking tea, the brain stops sounding alarms. It simply sees another moment, another task. Nothing extraordinary. Lucas started practicing this principle immediately. Before important meetings, presentations, or difficult conversations, he stopped doing what almost everyone does, psyching himself up. This is huge. Don't mess this up. You need to be mentally prepared. That kind of internal dialogue only increases anxiety because you are teaching your brain that the moment is dangerous. So Lucas reversed the process. Before major meetings, he did nothing special at all. No motivational rituals, no emotional build-up, no intense preparation routines. He showed up the same way he showed up to brush his teeth or eat lunch. Simple, calm, normal. At first, this felt irresponsible. How could someone walk into a multi-million-dollar meeting with the same emotional state used for buying coffee? But the results shocked him. Without building anxiety beforehand, he entered meetings more relaxed, more focused, and more adaptable. He reacted naturally instead of emotionally because he had removed the layer of anticipatory fear that usually exhausted him before the situation even began. 3 months after adopting Musashi's principles, Lucas had changed completely. Not because he became cold or emotionless, but because the cycle no longer controlled him. Of course, he still felt fear. Every human being does. The difference was that fear no longer dictated his behavior. He learned to move while fear was present instead of waiting for fear to disappear first. And here's the part nobody prepares you for. When you stop obeying fear, the people around you become uncomfortable. Some will call you reckless. Others will call you impulsive, insensitive, cold. Why? Because your willingness to act exposes their unwillingness to do the same. Your courage shines a light on their hesitation, and that can make people deeply uncomfortable. One of Lucas's friends actually told him, "You've changed. You seem colder now, less human." Lucas answered calmly, "No, I'm just less trapped." Chapter 6, The Death of the Old Self. But transformation comes with a price, and Musashi spoke about this with brutal honesty. You cannot break the cycle of fear without destroying part of your old identity, the part that desperately wants everyone's approval, the part addicted to comfort, the part demanding guarantees before taking action. That version of you cannot survive. And even symbolic death hurts, because you are saying goodbye to an identity you carried for years. The identity of being the caring person, the sensitive one, the person who always thinks carefully before acting. These identities often look noble on the surface, but many times they are simply elegant disguises hiding fear. Lucas understood this during the breakup conversation. The other person looked at him and said, "You always cared so much about my feelings. What happened to you?" And Lucas replied, "I stopped using your feelings as an excuse to avoid facing my own." Was it harsh? Maybe, but it was true. For years, he had used concern for others as a shield, protecting him from difficult decisions. And in doing so, he had been betraying himself the entire time. A behavioral psychologist at Yale University who spent 22 years researching identity transformation, discovered something important. When human beings change deeply rooted behavioral patterns, they experience something similar to grief. Why? Because they are mourning the older version of themselves, and the brain interprets that loss as something real. That is why genuine transformation is almost always accompanied by emotional pain. You are not merely learning new behaviors, you are dismantling old ones that once defined your identity. Musashi lived this truth, literally. After decades wandering as a samurai, he eventually stopped fighting altogether, not because fear defeated him, but because he realized he no longer needed to prove anything to anyone. He withdrew into the mountains, spent years inside caves, writing, painting, carving sculptures. People who knew him probably believed he had gone insane. Japan's greatest swordsman choosing the life of a hermit. But Musashi understood something profound. Even the identity of winner must be abandoned if it becomes a prison. And this is the part most people cannot handle. Because remaining loyal to who you have always been feels easier than becoming who you are meant to become. Lucas encountered this lesson when his business started growing rapidly. For years, he saw himself as the man who handled everything alone. But the next level required delegation, trust, releasing control. The old Lucas, the one who carried everything by himself, had to disappear so a new version could emerge. A version capable of leading others. And that process hurt deeply, because the old identity had protected him for years. Yet now it was limiting his growth. 6 months later, Lucas was managing a company 3 times larger than before. He had a team of 15 people and worked half the hours he once worked. How did that happen? Because he stopped making choices based on fear. He no longer avoided difficult conversations, no longer delayed necessary change. And most importantly, he stopped taking pride in enduring miserable situations. Many people confuse tolerance with strength, but often pride in putting up with things is simply fear of transformation wearing another mask. Then Lucas discovered something that changed his life forever. Breaking the cycle of fear is not a one-time victory. It is a daily discipline, because fear never disappears completely. It only loses control over you. Tomorrow morning, you will wake up, and fear will still whisper the same familiar lies. Wait a little longer. This isn't the right time. What if it all goes wrong? But now you recognize those voices for what they truly are. Ancient survival mechanisms trying to lock you inside a comfortable cage. And now you have a choice most people never realize they possess. You can listen and obey, or you can listen and act anyway. Chapter 7: The Path of the Modern Warrior. Musashi died at 62 years old, alone inside a cave while writing his final words. He did not die in some legendary battle. He died quietly, having transcended the need to prove himself completely. His final written statement was simple: I regret nothing. Only a few words. Yet inside those words lived the essence of an entire lifetime spent refusing to surrender to fear. Can you imagine dying without regret? Looking back at your life without seeing endless moments abandoned because fear controlled you? Conversations you never had, risks you never took, versions of yourself you never allowed to exist. Most people die filled with regret, not because they failed, but because they never truly tried. Fear kept them safe, small, quiet. And here is the brutal truth almost nobody wants to hear. Safety is mostly an illusion. You think your comfort zone protects you, but all it really does is postpone unavoidable discomfort. Eventually, you will face difficult conversations, either because you choose to face them at the right moment, or because life forces them upon you after it is already too late. Eventually, you will experience change, either because you initiate it yourself or because it crashes into your life unexpectedly. Eventually, you will confront your fears, either consciously, on your own terms, or unconsciously after they have already stolen years from your life. And this is what Musashi understood clearly. The fears you avoid today do not disappear. They grow, they accumulate, they compound over time, until one day you look backward and realize you spent your entire existence serving an invisible master. Lucas is fictional, but you still know him, because Lucas is you. He is me. He is every human being who has ever felt their chest tighten before doing something important. The difference is not that fearless people exist. The difference is that some people choose to act despite fear. So now the decision belongs to you. And it is a decision you will continue making tomorrow and the next day and the day after that. Will you obey the voice saying, "Wait a little longer"? Or will you recognize it for what it truly is, an outdated survival mechanism, and move forward anyway? Because in reality, you were never weak. Not once. You were simply trapped inside a cycle Musashi recognized 400 years ago. A cycle that keeps people safe but small, comfortable but imprisoned, alive but not truly living. And the escape is not waiting for fear to vanish. The escape is moving through fear now. Inside the decision, you continue postponing. Inside the conversation, you continue avoiding. Inside the transformation, you already know must happen. Musashi fought 60 duels without losing once. Not because he lacked fear, but because he understood something most people never learn. It is hesitation that kills, not the sword. You are not fighting swordsmen. You are fighting for your own life. And every day you hesitate, you surrender a little more ground. So the real question is not whether you feel afraid. The real question is this: will you allow fear to decide your future for you? If this video changed your perspective or helped you understand fear differently, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment telling us which fears you are going to overcome from this day forward. And if you stayed until the end, thank you sincerely for your time and attention. I'll see you in the next video.